What's up, guys? CryptoSavy here. Welcome to the channel where you subscribe to get daily updates every single day on Bitcoin, Litecoin, Ethereum, and during the week we take a look at the Dow Jones. At the end of the video, we're going to take a look at the markets. We're going to start out in the higher time frames. I'm going to move through it kind of quick, and we're going to go down to the hour time frame in Bitcoin too and look at the more immediate price action and see what I'm expecting. Also, don't forget there's a free Discord group in the description below the video. Definitely check it out, guys. It's totally free. It's an awesome community, and let's get on with it. All right, guys, as always, it's not financial advice, trading advice, nor is it investment advice. Disclaimer scrolling on the bottom. Make sure you read it, and always remember this is my opinion, not yours. Do your own due diligence. And we're going to start out with the news headlines, get a feel for the sentiment. Could Bitcoin trading volume really 100x in 4 years? Latest Bitcoin price and analysis. Bitcoin price likely to print a $16,000 Bitcoin. Bloomberg expects Bitcoin to double to 20,000 this year. Market wrap. Bitcoin closing in on 9,900. I won't even read that one. Expecting a spike in Bitcoin. Investors say it may take time. Bitcoin diehards revisit roots to virtual conference. Bitcoin trader axes 4-year bull cycle forecast after 10K rejection with a risk of falling to 6,000. Blow to Bitcoin as Coinbase crashes in sudden meltdown. Bitcoin mining difficulty hasn't done this since 2018. They're saying it looks like the 2018 bear market bottom. We'll talk about that. Let's look at the fear and greed index. We're at 53, down 1 point from yesterday, still in the neutral zone. And our monthly chart looking for a close above the 93.40 to be bullish. Close underneath will get us. If we close in between the 85 and 93, it's going to get us back to the neutral. If we close below this, bearish. I still think there's a good possibility we come down and retest. This is right now it's at the 50 around 52.50 for the 55 EMA, but obviously it'll take a while to be moving up along. I still have my target of 5,400. This is my wife's webpage, inkerimage.com. It's a great way to help support the channel. Check it out. A lot of cool crypto stuff on there. You can put anything you want on any of this stuff. Doesn't have to be just what you see. There's also long sleeve tees and hoodies. Hit her up in the contact. They are not listed here. And we're going to take a look at the 4-hour gaps. So this for the people that believe in the gaps. And most people say that it has to be at least a daily, but we have seen all the 4-hour gaps close thus far. So just to look at where they're at, not saying they have to close. You guys know I'm not a gap guy, but there's a possibility that we could be going to close them. First off, we have one at 35.70 down here. We have one at 11.7 and one at 7,600. If the gaps are going to fill, the worst case scenario would be going to fill this one first, because that would mean we have longer to go down. I still believe there's a high probability that we come down and test this for more reasons than just the gap. Let's look at the weekly. So real quick in the weekly, we have been watching the RSI here looking like a symmetrical triangle. Could we come up and retest the top of it? That is a possibility. That is a bullish case scenario. We'll take a look at both the bullish and the bearish. You guys know my opinion is bearish, but that's just my opinion, not yours. Make up your own mind. Do your own due diligence. I give you both scenarios. You choose. All right, so we're getting in the weekly, and of course, the RSI, you cannot count this until the weekly close. But as of right now, we are getting lower lows in the RSI, or lower highs in the RSI, higher highs on them same peaks in the price action. That is bearish divergence. We had our rejection up here at our top trend line, although we did wick through it. I don't know. I'm still bearish here, but we do have targets. If we look at this, let me get the RSI off there. If you guys are interested in trading, I'm going to leave a Prime XBT tutorial up top. Definitely check it out. It's by far my favorite exchange. I also use Bybit and DOW, and there is links down below that have bonuses. But Prime XBT, you can trade Forex, commodities, gold, silver, oil, S&P, DOW, all kinds of stuff. It's a great exchange. I use Prime XBT for most all my trading now. There is promo codes for it. Savvy50 will get you 50% on top of whatever you deposit up to 1 Bitcoin as your bonus. Savvy25 will get you 25% off of your trading fees. So yeah, check it out. Like I said, there's links to all the exchanges down below. By using them links, you help the channel out. Also, don't forget to hit the thumbs up, guys. I want to see how many likes we can get on this video. It really helps push the video out there. So take a second out and do that. It doesn't cost you anything but a couple seconds. And leave a comment if you have one. All right, so looking at this as a falling, this being the support down here, falling broadening wedge, and our measured move of that from where we broke out is around that $16,000 range. That is the bullish case scenario here. But we would have to obviously close above that 10.5 to get up here. We have major resistance at 10.5, as you guys all know. When we look at the volume here, the volume is declining during this rise. That is leaning more bearish, if you ask me. If we were to come back all the way back down, test this bottom trend line, which I'm not saying it can happen, but we could see $1,000 Bitcoin. I do have some higher targets. If we look at this as a symmetrical triangle, the thicker lines here, and we take a measured move of the breakout, if we were to break out in this area and actually get a real breakout with real volume, 28,000 would be the target of that breakout. Not to say we couldn't go higher. And for those of you that think I'm a super bear, I believe Bitcoin is going to make higher highs next year, most likely, and we could see a $50,000 to $300,000 Bitcoin. It's definitely a possibility. So I'm not a Bitcoin hater. I'm a Bitcoin holder and a trader. I have a HODL stash that I will not sell. I've explained my strategy on how I will sell Bitcoin. But if you're a true believer in Bitcoin, you would never sell all your Bitcoin if you're a true believer. A lot of people are in this just for cash. You have to remember that. They're not in it for Bitcoin itself. And a lot of big investors are in it for cash, not for Bitcoin. You have to remember that. And people are talking about the major adoption. Bitcoin community is really small, guys. When you're in it, it seems big because everybody's talking about it, but it's not that big. There's not that many people. If you go ask strangers on the street about Bitcoin, you'll hear Bitcoin's a scam. It's some kind of Ponzi. It's something that if you bought a long time ago, you could have got rich. You don't hear people understanding what it is. So when that money flows in, that's like last time, 2017, it's going to be all over the news. Everybody's going to be talking about it. Half the people that talk about it don't even know what the hell it is, except you get rich when you buy it. So keep that in mind, guys. I know everybody's getting really, really bullish here, and I understand that. I get it. But you got to remember market psychology, guys. A lot of times when everybody's bullish, there's going to be a fake out and they're going to take your money. So be aware of that. But anyways, yeah, them are the bullish case scenarios, bearish targets down here. And let's look at the daily. Excuse me. So the daily, my main thing I'm watching here is this rising channel. And if we were to break down the measured move of breaking down out of this, let's say we break down this weekend, the measured move of that would be around the $6,800 range. Remember, we have the golden retracement zone here around the 63 to 60. Well, actually 0.65 is at the 6,200 up to the 6,350. So that would be the golden pocket. I would expect at least a bounce here. If we break through that, we'd be looking for my target at 5,400. The 0.786 retracement of this swing high or swing low to swing high would be around 5,250. We also have this target down here, which would act as a stop hunt for anybody that longed here and have their stops under there, come down, get their stops, and continue up. Keep that in mind. Also, if we were to run up here, there's 2 points of resistance. Well, there's obviously more than that, but If we break this 10.5, I would get pretty damn bullish, guys. Actually, 10,560. As you can see here, we have still been making lower lows in the macro. There is no higher high here. I know people are super bullish. I get it, but it's until we make a higher high, there's no reason to be. Now, looking at this rising broadening wedge here, if we rose straight up here in the next day or two, I would expect resistance at the 10.9. That would be breaking this 10.5. If we get up here, break this, come back down and test it and get support, we could be coming up to around the 12,000, which would be the top of this rising channel. Another thing I want to point out, if you look at this rising channel here, and we take a look at this rising channel here, and take a look at this rising channel here, that was extremely fast rise, huge pullback. Fast rise, huge pullback. Fast rise, I'm expecting a pullback. Still, there's nothing telling me unless we break that 10,560, I'm expecting a pullback. Let me get this off of here. Just keep that in perspective. I'm not saying we can't go up to the bullish targets and blow through this and go to new all-time highs. It is possible. I just don't see it happening. Now, the other target, if we were to come up and break the top of this channel, that would be extremely bullish. The target here would be about 14.6. And if we look at this is another bullish target. If we were to break that, Adam and Eve is usually the Adam first and Eve. But if we looked at this backwards, just to take a look at it, did a measured move of the break of that 10.5 or whatever, that gets us up to around the $17,000 range. Again, that's a possibility. If we came up there and got a huge rejection, that would be a lower high. But again, guys, I don't see us going up there. There's really not much reason to talk about that other than to give you a bullish case scenario, unless we cross this 10.59. So these white targets here are just my Fibonacci retracements from the swing low to swing high. Let me get this off of here now. Looking at the RSI on the daily, we had been looking at this as a rising broadening wedge. We broke out of it. Looks like we had a fake out coming back inside, and we are looking to continue down now. I do believe we will come back down and retest this bottom trend line, and that is one of the reasons I'm still bearish. Let's look at the 4 hour and go in a little closer. This is the symmetrical triangle we have drawn here. That we had the fake out coming up and back down in it. And as of right now, you can see we are getting rejected from that trend line again. We are breaking back down through the EMAs here. If we can get back up and these hold as support, then we could be looking at one more test to the high. I wouldn't be surprised if we came up and tested this $10,100 range. We will take a look at that in the 1 hour though, but as of right now, if we break back down below this 55 EMA and it turns into resistance at 95.60, it's looking pretty bearish. Let's go into the 1 hour. Let's look at the 4 hour real quick. Well, the 4 hour does look like, we've already tested this bottom trend line again. We have came up to the top in the oversold region. And as you guys know, I don't like to call it oversold region because of how the RSI works. But it does look like we're ready to come down and retest this bottom trend line here. And on here, that could be anywhere from the 9,400 to the bottom of this, around the 9,100. Now let's look at the 1 hour. All right, so looking at the 1 hour, if we look at this, it looks like a rising broadening wedge forming. We are breaking down through the EMAs here. The 55 EMA is around the 95.50, which is confluent with what we just looked at over there. Is this? Let's put this on the 1 hour. There we go. This is how I wanted to look at it. Okay, looking at it on the 1 hour. Let me move this down. I don't know how that got switched to 4 hour, but as on the 1 hour, we are falling through the EMAs. We are getting rejected at the 55 EMA. The 200 EMA is going to line up with this 95.50, 95.80 area, depending on how quick we come down here. If we do break this, let me straighten this out a little bit. If we do have a break of this sometime this weekend, let's put it over here. This is the hourly, so it could be a while. Let's do a measured move right here. So today or tomorrow, if it was to break, in the area we'd be looking to break down is going to be around 95.80. 9100 is the target of this rising broadening wedge of a failure and breaking down. As you can see, we just got a little boost up. See if we can break above these EMAs right now, and that's around the 9800. If we do, we could be looking for this $10,100 target, which would be retesting this area from when we broke down. That would also be the top of this rising broadening wedge. Now, if we were to break that, looking at the bullish case, that could get us all the way up to the 10,560. My opinion, we're not going to do that, but you never know. Let's look at, like I said, there is the target, the 9100. There's also a bigger target if we were just to look at this as a bear flag, which I think is a little less likely of it being a bear flag, but the target of that would be around the 8750. That would be confluent with these support areas here, resistance here. So those are my targets for the downside. This is my target for one more test to the top. If that was to break, like I said, then we'd be looking for the $10,600, $10,700 range. If the 10-1 breaks, I don't believe that's going to happen, but we'll see. The RSI in the 1 hour looks like it's ready to come down one more time. Not a whole lot of divergence here. One thing I do want to point out in the daily is this bearish divergence here where we got higher highs. You can see on the orange line, higher highs in the price action, lower highs in the RSI. That's bearish divergence. Question is, did this candle play that out already? I do not think so. If we look at this in the daily, that definitely looks like a bear flag forming. And on the daily, the 55 EMA support area would be around 8850. 200 EMA support area would be around 8330. So those are my targets for that, guys. Let's look at another thing I wanted to point out here. If you look at how this all played out, you can see, like I said, this rise that was just straight up crazy, too much, too fast, and you see what happened. I believe we're most likely going to see the same out of here if we drop out of this rising channel. Now, Litecoin. Obviously, Litecoin is going to do what Bitcoin does. Litecoin also seems to be in a rising channel here, and a break of the bottom of this is going to put Litecoin around the 3650 range. But also, if we look at this rising wedge here, and the measured move of that gets us all the way down to $28 range. But I do have these targets in here from the swing low to the swing high. Our 0.5 fib is at 37.92. Golden pocket area is between 34 and 35. 0.786 is around 30. And if Bitcoin was to go down to that 3,400, I look for Litecoin to be between 20 and 22 to do the same thing, a stop hunt from this area. If we look at the RSI looks to be showing that we should be coming back down for one more test of the bottom of this falling wedge. That could be just right here. We'll have to see what happens there. The RSI could come down, test this, and we test this $43 area. We could bounce around in here, create a bear flag, and that could reset the RSI for another push down to these lower lows. So keep that in mind. And let's look at Ethereum. And this is a 4 hour, so was Litecoin. So Ethereum, we came back up and retested this high over here at the $247 range and got rejected. As of right now, let's look at the EMAs. We are getting support on top of all the EMAs. The 8 EMA lies at 243. The 55 EMA is around 233. 200 EMA is around 213. I was looking at this as a rising broadening wedge, and the measured move off that brings us down to 205, which is definitely a possibility here. And if we zoom out, looks like a bigger rising broadening wedge here. And the measured move off that, if we break down, is 125. If we break up, let's take a look at that. Again, guys, I believe we're breaking down. But if we break up, it could be around $380 range. That would be breaking the high over here. That would be extremely bullish. It would also be breaking this long-term trend line right here. And if we went straight up today, that long-term trend line is around the 255, 256. Let's look at the RSI. RSI is looking bearish. As you can see, I have this rising broadening wedge here. Looks like we're going to come down to retest the bottom of this. And in the price action, that would line up pretty well with most likely the 233 range, which is 55 EMA. And if we break down past that, could be coming down to this 214 range to retest the bottom of this trend line here. That would be a break of the support line. Pre-market in the Dow. The Dow is looking to open up 314 points. And this is what we've been talking about for quite some time. In the daily, the EMAs are looking pretty bullish. The 8 has crossed the 200, 13 on its way. 8, 13, and 55 have crossed, or 8, 13, and 21 have crossed 55. It's bullish. We've been talking about this for some time. I do believe we can come up and retest the top or the bottom of this channel around the 27 to 27.2. I do expect a rejection there. Also, want to show you in the daily, if we do go up there, even if we came all the way up to retest the high, say 29, we have some major divergence here. Let me get this line out of the way. If you look at this swing high, and that was a swing high here, you look at where we're at now on the daily, that is hidden bearish divergence. We're getting higher highs on the RSI, lower highs on the price action. If you guys haven't seen, watch my videos from a while back. Yesterday I explained a little how I get these lower targets. I do believe we are still going to have a meltdown in the markets, regardless of what everybody's saying about the Fed's going to keep printing money. It's just going to keep going up. They are building confidence to do the biggest money grab in history, in my opinion. It's going to be a lot worse than this little drop we had here. Again, this is all my opinion, not yours. If you want to subscribe to the channel, make sure you do by clicking the CryptoSavy logo above my head. Smash the like button, leave your comments down below. And when you hit the subscribe, make sure you tick the little bell and then hit the all notifications so you do get notified when I post new videos. Thanks a lot for stopping in. I appreciate each and every one of you guys. Have a great day. I'm out.